Robot Wars Grand Champions. Last time you would have seen Caterkiller get swung around by the tail, and then Invertebrat took a little roasting. The audience was loving it as it finally hit the pit. If you love mechanical mayhem, you've come to the right place.
The toughest, most brutal robots in the world are here for one purpose, to crown a grand champion. I'm your host, Joni, here to bring you all the action in the most fiercely fought robot war ever. When it's over here tonight, 5 will go home and 1 more will move into the final 16. Let's get down to the floor and bang some metal.
All right, Joni, and last time on Robot Wars, you would have seen Tornado divide and conquer Gemini. Adding them to the list of semi-finalists. Who's it gonna be today? And our contributors for destruction today will be Warhog up against Dreadnaut XP1 and Darke Destroyer 2. But first up, Thermidor 2, Gravedigger, and Kronic the Wedgehog.
From Seaton in Devon, Kronic the Wedgehog.
Kronic the Wedgehog in at 172 pounds. Says it's got 2 car motors, but I don't know how they'd fit it in there. Got a flipper and a spike, and we'll see how scary it is.
Hi, my name is Dave Lang from Team Kronic. This is our robot, Kronic the Wedgehog. It's powered by 2 Sinclair C5 motors. It has a pneumatic front flipper and a pneumatic spike on the back, which fires out about that far. Hopefully we should do some damage with it.
From Norwich, the number 13 seed, Gravedigger.
Gravedigger looking like a shovel in at 167 pounds, 2 750-watt motors, and a mean hydraulic ram. Let's see what he can do.
I'm Dave, Gravedigger team. This is Jonathan, our team captain. This is Owen, he's the artist and weapons operator. Jonathan's the driver. Gravedigger, you can see it's a wedge-shaped robot. It works off a 2-ton hydraulic ram working an arm, and the arm's worked off a CO2 gas cylinder. The main drive is 2 electric motors, and they drive 2 go-kart wheels.
From Norwich, Thermidor 2.
Thermidor 2 with those car wheels in at 175 pounds, electric-powered motors, and lobster claws with flippers. A real crush station.
Hi, we're Team Lobster. My name's David. This is Ian. This is Eli. This is our robot Thermidor 2. We've got really grippy tyres, powerful claws, powerful flipper. And this war, we're going to win.
Roboteers, stand by.
Matilda looking hungry. Kronic the Wedgehog with Mike and Dave Lang and Mike Gardner. And Thermidor 2 with Dave Hardin, Ian Harvey, and Little Eli. And Gravedigger, John and Dave Chaplin with Owen Ramsey.
2, 1, activate.
Kronic the Wedgehog goes out immediately into Thermidor as Gravedigger gives Kronic a little wedgie. Oh! Kronic doesn't like that at all. He's gonna get out of the way, that's for sure. Thermidor 2 with those claws don't seem to be making too much of a difference on that big Wedgehog design as Kronic has got him up against the rails. Those wheels are spinning and Thermidor better get out of there. Gravedigger's got all the low profile he needs to get up and over on any of these other bots. Let's see if he knows how to drive himself into there. But right now it's Kronic doing all the aggressive motions. Going raw. Oh, he's busted the arm right off of Thermidor 2. Oh, that's not going to do too well for them. I think Kronic was hungry for a little lobster claws as he got one busted free. Meanwhile, Gravedigger stuck up on the rails as Thermidor flips him over on his side. Oh, Gravedigger could be the first one out. Look at that. Thermidor 2 taking advantage of an easy situation. There goes the pit, and the audience knows it. It's time for somebody to take a dive in the first round. And it might just as well be Gravedigger who's stuck up on his side as Kill-A-Lot comes and takes advantage of the situation Well, the deal is, if one of them's immobile for 30 seconds or more, they're out of there, but it looks like Gravedigger got a reprieve. Off a death row and into Thermidor. Well, it might look like Gravedigger's back on his feet again, but I think he would have been counted out for being immobile for 30 seconds. Let's see what the judges have to say. Oh yeah, Thermidor 2 and Kronic the Wedgehog go through. Gravedigger's history. Stick around for some more destruction after the break. Welcome back to Robot Wars Grand Champions. If you just joined us, you might have missed Gravedigger getting sent back to the cemetery, courtesy of Air Killalot. So there it is, Gravedigger dead and buried. Next up, Warhog, Dreadnaut XP1, and Darke Destroyer 2.
From Hull, the Warhog.
There's Warhog, tip of the scales at 175 pounds, a couple of starting motors, 500 RPM spinning wheel, and a 0 turning circle.
Hi, I'm the team captain. This is Colin here. This is Paul Stevenson and Matt Chalmers. And this is Warhog. Warhog's one of the many spinning robots, but this is a spinner with a difference because it's a heavy spinner. And it spins at about 500 RPM. The weight is about 30 kilograms. We hope to do well, but we'll see.
From Nuneaton in Warwickshire, the number 29 seed, Dreadnaut XP1.
A really nice design, Dreadnaut XP1. In at 171 pounds, a couple of wheelchair motors, some serious lifting forks, but a fiberglass shell.
Hi, I'm Ken, and this is Dave, my brother-in-law, and this is Faye, his daughter, my niece. And we're the Dreadnaut team. This is our robot, Dreadnaut. As you can see, it's a sculpted body shell made of fiberglass. It's pretty solid. And these are our main weapons, which are solid steel forks. We're going to skewer and lift the opponent.
From Romsey in Hampshire, Darke Destroyer.
Darke Destroyer, and then 170 pounds, a couple of 750-watt motors, spring-loaded axes with a ram, but it better not get on its back.
Hello, my name's Rob Darke, team captain of Team Darke Destroyer. This is my son Chris, the driver of the robot, and George, who's head of logistics. This is our robot. Its main weapons are fast-moving axes, sprung-loaded to chop and slice. It's got a ramming front, a bulldozer front, with sharp spikes for doing carnage. It's also got spikes on the side for glancing blows. Our other weapon is a leading edge off the back, so we can reverse under the robots and hopefully tip them up.
Roboteers, stand by.
There's Warhog with Colin Hare, Paul Stevenson, and Mark Chalmers. And Dreadnaut XP1 with Ken Feltwell, Dave, and Faye Vowles. And Darke Destroyer 2 with Rob and Chris Darke and George
3,
Morrell.
2, 1.
And there they go. Warhog goes spinning like an amusement park ride. Whoa! He took something off of somebody. I don't know what, though. Darke Destroyer 2, I think, lost something when they had that contact with Dreadnaut in the beginning. Dreadnaut, a wonderful looking design, but let's see if they've got enough power to do some damage. Oh! Warhog with that spinning wheel. Look at that fiberglass just disintegrate. Warhog is an awesome design. You wouldn't want to take a fiberglass body up against that. It's got so much weight and so much speed, you're gonna have to be some serious metal. And did you see that? Warhog just took off airborne. Amazing. Well, they're gonna have to clean up some serious debris out of this when it's all over. Well, the housebots are moving in, which would usually mean that somebody's been immobilized, but it looks to me as if Warhog is still moving. Well, he was doing plenty of damage on all the other bots, but he was maybe doing a lot of damage to himself at the same time. Who's gonna know? The judges, I think, will be deciding this one, as Dead Metal's making Warhog look like a stuck pig on a spit. And Matilda's coming in for a little taste herself. Wow, Warhog had all the speed and all the power and all the weight. Who'd have thunk it? as Dead Metal goes in for the kill. It could be a very dead Warhog already. Not making too much motion. Some sort of flames coming out of the top of him now as Dead Metal puts the grinder in. There's no motion out of Warhog whatsoever. A shot comes in from the other side and lines him up for the flipper, but wait a second! Darke Destroyer 2 comes in and moves him out of harm's way. Well, he's just sitting over on the side. Oh! Dreadnaut XP1 loses his exoskeleton as Killalot swings him around. Well, he doesn't look so tough without that body now, and Darke Destroyer knows it too. Well, that's it. It's all over. Well, with a little heavy-handedness from the housebots, Warhog is out of there. Dreadnaut and Darke Destroyer 2 go through.
We've already seen 2 robots meet their maker. Who's next? Don't miss the carnage when Robot Wars Grand Champions continues after this.
Welcome back to Robot Wars Grand Champions. Well, so far, 2 of our 6 bots have left the building. The first one was Gravedigger, where Killalot danced at his funeral. And then we saw Warhog go into orbit, courtesy of Darke Destroyer 2 and Dreadnaut XP1. But not before the housebots came in to clean up the arena. So here's how it lines up in round 2. Dreadnaut XP1 up against Thermidor 2. But first, Kronic The Wedgehog versus Darke Destroyer.
Roboteers, stand by.
And there is Kronic The Wedgehog, driven by Dave Lang, looking ready to go. And Darke Destroyer 2, with Rob Darke at the controls.
3, 2, 1.
From what I've seen so far, the Wedgehog is impenetrable with that casing. Darke Destroyer 2 better come up with some tactics, because they sure haven't been doing too much in the round before. They got lucky to get through, I'll tell you that. Those little arms are just twiddling back and forth. They're not getting too much damage. I think they better rethink their weaponry the next time around if they make it. The Wedgehog is just trying to angle his way around to use that flipper. Let's see if he can get under him. Oh, and he does! He just toppled Darke Destroyer 2 in one fell swoop. Look at the arm come up on that. Yeah, it says, please turn over on the bottom. They better not hold their breath. Well, I thought Wedgehog had all the power in this round, and they definitely have, as they're just mashing them upside down. Poor Darke Destroyers, well, I think they're the ones that got destroyed. A shot comes down with that diamond edge axe. Poor Darke Destroyer is looking more and more like a turtle on its back as Dead Metal comes in with a grinder. Everybody's having a piece today. The Darke Destroyer is certainly getting destroyed. And now Matilda wants a little destruction. Oh, well, these guys better go back to the drawing board and rethink some weaponry, because they were useless, and maybe while they're at it, maybe a self-righting mechanism. Well, you can't come to Robot Wars Grand Champions half-baked unless you want to get fried. Well, the Darke Destroyers definitely are history now, as Sir Killalot comes in with the pinchers. Just gonna snip and tuck a little before it's all completely over. The audience is begging for the pit, and there goes the pit. Killalot knows what he's got to do, and he's so dutiful, he'll make sure. What a good bot. Cease. So there it is. Kronic The Wedgehog goes through to meet either Dreadnaut XP1 or Thermidor 2.
Roboteers, stand by.
There's Thermidor 2 with their claw repaired, and Dave Harding up on the controls. And Dreadnaut XP1 with the shell back on, and Ken Feltwell at the controls.
3, 2, 1. Activate.
Dreadnaut looks like it's right out of a Japanese cartoon. As Thermidor 2 goes in with those feeble pincers. Oh, but the secret weapon's that flipper. the flipper he uses. Oh, yeah, you didn't think much about those claws before until you saw that flipper get going. Look at that. Almost dropped Dreadnaut out of the arena on his head knot. Oh, missed it by inches. Wow, that would have been a beauty. But looks as if Dreadnaut XP1 is going to suffer the turtle on its back syndrome as the housebots come in and Matilda brings that chainsaw blade of hers right down through the tire, going through the wheel. Oh, Dreadnaut boys know it's time to go. And Dead Metal comes in from the other side, dragging Dreadnaught's lifeless body across the arena, lining him up perfectly for that flipper. Oh, and he gets jettisoned right into ref spot, but back on his wheels again. I wonder what the judges will say about that as Shunt puts the axe down and Kill-A-Lot gets the pincers down on the other side. Wow, Dreadnaut wishes he just never got out of bed today. As the Kill-A-Lot jam shows the melting point of fiberglass on the poor Dreadnaut XP1. As Kill-A-Lot drags his body out, these housebots are gonna have a house party on Dreadnaught's head. As Shunt comes down with the axe, Dead Metal's in there with a grinder, everybody's in on the action, and Matilda comes along to make sure that Dreadnaut gets a decent burial. Goodbye. No. Poor Dreadnaut. Nice design, but looks ain't everything. So there it is. Thermidor 2 go through to meet Kronic the Wedgehog in the final of Heat G.
A Wedge Hog and a Thermidor? Are you kidding me? Don't miss our final battle right after this.
Welcome back to Robot Wars Grand Champions. Well, so far you've seen Thermidor and Kronic the Wedgehog kill Gravedigger, and then Kill-A-Lot just put the icing on the cake. Then it was Thermidor up against Dreadnaut XP1, who flipped him up, almost out, but it was all over for Dreadnaut. And then Darke Destroyer got destroyed by the Wedge Hog. So here it is, the final of Heat G. Kronic the Wedgehog up against Thermidor 2.
Roboteers, stand by.
So there it is, the Wedgehog, who looked untaxed so far in this competition, and Thermidor 2, who managed to hold his own in the last round.
3, 2, 1, activate.
And they're off. They both possess the same weaponry. It'll just be a matter of who can get who. They're both do-si-doing around right now as the Wedgehog angles for some sort of positioning. Thermidor 2's wide open with those pincers. Much lower center of gravity than the Wedgehog. See if it makes any difference in the long run. It's definitely a battle of the flippers here today. As Thermidor 2 gets entangled and then gets out of it. Oh, the Wedgehog got under that one. As Shunt comes out with the axe. Well, he was a little bit too close to that corner patrol zone, is why Shunt would have been able to come out. As the Wedgehog seems to have lost the flipper, its only weapon. Oh, this is good news for Thermidor 2. Look at that, he clamped down and busted that flipper right off. And now it's time for Thermidor to do some work. The pit opens, and the housebots are coming out. They smell disaster. It must have been more than that flipper that busted on Kronic, because all the housebots are coming in for the kill. Dead Metal comes in with a grinder. Kill-A-Lot comes in with the pincers. They're gonna make scrap out of this thing before it's all over. Well, Matilda's the only one that's missing. Poor Kronic. They really did have a shot of it in the beginning of this round, but the poor thing just fell apart at the hinges as Shunt and Dead Metal line them up for the pit. Well, they love beer on the bumper sticker. Maybe they loved it too much because they're history. Let's take a look at how Thermidor 2 did it. Busted that flipping arm right off a Wedge Hog, and then the housebots came in to do the nasty on old Kronic. Which means that Thermidor 2 will go through to the semifinals. And there's confirmation the Lobster joins an ever-growing list of semifinalists.
Thermidor 2 crushes all comers. No one was tough enough to handle his awesome power, but even Thermidor will have to take his performance to the next level in the semifinals. I'm your host, Joni, and I'll bring you all the action next time on Robot Wars Grand Champions.
Okay, Joni, next time on Robot Wars, we're going to see Wheelie Big Cheese up against Prize Fighter Mark II and Wheelosaurus. Also, Kilotron, Suicidal Tendencies, and Maverick. You won't want to miss that.